Okay, so are you thinking of narrating an audiobook for the first time? Or maybe you've already produced a few. I'm Andy, the audiobook narrator, and either way this video is for you, as I will be exploring whether or not it is a good idea to deliver different voices for different characters when narrating an audiobook. Is the answer yes, or no, or maybe sometimes? And stick with me, because I'll be playing a clip from one of my audiobooks, the same one with character voices and without, so that you can compare the two. And I'll be exploring the pros and cons of including character voices. Now, obviously, if the book you're narrating is a documentary style of book, or a textbook, for example, which isn't fiction and therefore doesn't include characters who speak to each other, then you probably won't need to worry about whether or not you deliver different character voices or not. The chances are you won't need to, because you'll just be delivering your voice. So that's nice and easy. But if it is fiction, then you've got a decision to make. Are you in the character voices camp, or are you not? Because there are seasoned narrators, many who are professional actors, who will argue that you don't need to deliver character voices. They will say that you should allow the listener to use their own imagination and picture the character in their minds, which would mean that giving them a distinctive different voice isn't necessary. Many narrators who are not in favour of delivering different voices will say that it is more important to reflect a character's personality by the way you deliver their dialogue, rather than just by changing their voice or delivering an accent, or even by reflecting their gender. And there is some truth in that. It is important to act each part appropriately, they will argue, and put more effort into that rather than into the character's voice. And anyway, they will add, you can't be expected to deliver scores of different voices, no matter how good an actor or mimic you are. Male voices, female voices, old people, youngsters, children, lots of different accents. Come on, that's asking a bit much, isn't it? After all, a professional actor, whether on stage or in a TV drama or in a film, is used to playing only one character at a time. Playing maybe 20, 40, 50 or more characters, albeit only their voices, would stretch even the most gifted actor. Wouldn't it? And then there is the issue of reviews. Nothing seems to animate reviewers more than voices and accents. They will say things like, I didn't think his female voices were at all convincing. Or, her Scottish accent was terrible. I live in Scotland and we don't talk like that. So the more voices you deliver, the more likelihood that someone somewhere won't like some or many of them. I guess it's a little like owning a car that has loads and loads of fancy gadgets. There are more things that can go wrong than with a cheap and basic car. Keep it simple, the argument goes. But whilst avoiding delivering character voices might be playing it safe, isn't it a bit boring for the listener? It certainly makes it harder for the listener to immediately realise which character is speaking if the voices are largely the same. Furthermore, if a character is described as being Scottish, Irish, American, African, Japanese, Russian, or from Papua New Guinea for that matter, shouldn't the narrator make at least an attempt to reflect that in the character's accent? It can't be that difficult to do, can it? Even if the accent isn't perfect, as long as you make a decent stab at it, isn't that better than not trying at all? And surely, by giving each character their own distinctive voice, aren't you not only making the audiobook more entertaining, aren't you also surely bringing it to life? And by doing so, aren't you using your acting skills more widely and having a bit of fun in the process? Okay, so to help you decide what works best, here is a clip from an audiobook that I narrated, which includes 4 different characters in dialogue with one another. It's called Amelina and the Palace of Pleasure, which is book 2 in the fantasy series The Count at Play and Slaughter, written by the very talented and mysterious C.L. Holmes. One contains different voices and the other doesn't, so see what you think.
Amelina had also had enough, feeling tired and annoyed and wanting to lie down to sleep off the journey. Her legs still buzzed from the vibrations of the carriage. Now she went past him into the grand entrance hall and toward the stairs. "I said, where do you think you're going?"
"What's all this racket? What are you yelling about?"
said a woman as she charged down the staircase into the hall, blocking Amelina.
"Who are these people, Georg?"
"They say they're the previous servants."
"Previous?"
Gennady howled.
"You've no idea what you're talking about." "Well, what's the problem?"
the woman demanded, out of patience with everyone.
"How dare you think you can disturb the peace of the High Castle?"
Gennady looked apologetic at this.
"We're very sorry,"
Amelina said, not feeling very sorry at all.
"We've just arrived and would like to go to our rooms to rest before Master,
She couldn't believe she'd said master, a word she had refused to ever bestow on the castle's resident monster. Amelina had also had enough, feeling tired and annoyed and wanting to lie down to sleep off the journey. Her legs still buzzed from the vibrations of the carriage. Now she went past him into the grand entrance hall and toward the stairs.
"I said, where do you think you're going?"
"What's all this racket? What are you yelling about?" said a woman as she charged down the staircase into the hall, blocking Amelina. "Who are these people, Georg?" "They say they're the previous servants."
"Previous?"
Gennady howled.
"You've no idea what you're talking about."
"Well, what's the problem?" the woman demanded, out of patience with everyone.
"How dare you think you can disturb the peace of the High Castle?"
Gennady looked apologetic at this. "We're very sorry," Amelina said, not feeling very sorry at all. "We've just arrived, and we'd like to go to our rooms to rest before Master—" She couldn't believe she'd said master, a word she had refused to ever bestow on the castle's resident monster.
Okay, so there you've heard a clip with character voices and without. Now, I will reveal that I am firmly in the character voices camp, so the clip with them is the one that is taken from the actual audiobook, but it is important for you to make your mind up as to what you are able to do as a narrator and how comfortable you are either way. And it might be that you decide to adopt a halfway house, where you do give some characters, whose voice and accent have been specifically mentioned and highlighted in the book, a distinct character voice. But with others, you primarily concentrate on acting out the personality, but don't work too hard on the voice or accent. Now, in closing, what I would say is that giving each person a character voice is not quite as difficult as it might seem. Yes, it will involve you in being a little more creative, and it will take a tad more time to research voices and to practice them, but don't think it is impossible. My next video will contain tips, ideas and techniques on creating and delivering a multitude of character voices. And by the time you listen to this video, it might already be released, and if so, I'll include a link to it in the notes below. Okay, so that's it for now. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel, which brings you videos on everything audiobooks, for narrators, authors and for listeners. And before you go, please remember to like this video by clicking the thumbs up button, as it helps me to grow the channel. Thanks so much for looking in, and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions you want to ask me, as I will answer all of them. So thanks again, see me again soon, But bye for now.